In the name of Allah, the compassionate and the merciful. Hello guys, in this video we are going to have an pushover fixed support beam with the method of hinge by hinge concept in C programming. As you see, we have two elements with 9 degrees of freedom, but just 3 degrees of freedom of this beam is released. With the vertical load which is happened in and applied in degree of freedom number 5. At the first, plastic hinge occurs in the left side of the element number 1, and in second step the plastic hinge happened in left and right hand side, and in third step the plastic hinge happened in right hand side of the element 2. Let's see the stiffness matrix of elastic element when it has no plastic hinge, and if the plastic hinge happens in the right hand side of the element, you see we can write this stiffness matrix. And if we have a plastic hinge just in a right hand side of the element, we can write we can have and use this stiffness matrix. And if in both sides of the element we have a plastic hinge, we can use this stiffness matrix. As you see, all rows and columns of moment is 0. So let's see our C programming language and modeling of this fixed support beam. As you see, I have many functions such as import data for importing length, actual rigidity, flexural rigidity, and ultimate moment from CSV file, and for calculating stiffness matrix, matrix determination, inverse matrix, matrix transpose, matrix multiplications, and calculating element internal forces, and for outputting your analysis data to the Excel or MATLAB. And this function is very important for analyzing of this and let's see, in this function we have we are going to import all data such as length, actual rigidity, actual and flexural rigidity, and ultimate moment in here. And you see that in here we're going to define the load in here, and the coordinate of the beam, and length of the beam, and angle of each beam, and stiffness matrix in here, and calculating the inverse and multiplication it, and then calculating the inverse internal forces of each element. It is for element number 1 and it is for element number 2, and then calculating the lambda and minimum of this ratio lambda, and then checking analysis in here after calculating lambda. And in stage 2, if the plastic hinge happened in node 1 in element in the left side of the element number 1, I mean in this position in here, so in here we are going to have change the coordinate. I mean when in element number 1 we have a displacement, so in displacement increase the coordinate of these structures, and then length of these structures fixed support beam is calculated, then angle of this element and stiffness matrix is going to be calculated, and then internal forces is calculated, and lambda and minimum of these values of lambdas, and then checking for our analysis 2 in stage 2, and in the stage 3 you see that the you see that in here plastic hinge happened in right and left hand side of two elements. You see that we are going to check the analysis 2, and you see that internal force for each element is calculated, and you see that in this position if we check the analysis, it shows that the plastic hinge for next step is going to be happened in this position. So in this position, if we inverse our stiffness matrix, we have a zero value. So it shows that all beam elements is going to be collapsed. So the structure is collapsed, and the analysis is stopped in here. So we are not going to indicate and calculate analysis of this step. So then we're going to output our data in Excel and MATLAB. You see that if we output our data in Excel, let's see, yes, in here you see that we just have a 2 increment, and in here and here we're going to output our Excel data in here, and displacements of the graph rhythm number 5 in here. So if we graph it with Excel, you see that the pushover analysis graph is going to be shown, and you see that with this hinge by hinge concept, we solved the very simple fixed support beam, and that's all. Thanks a lot, guys. I'd be glad to know your opinions about my modeling in C programming. Bye.